because success for a startup is like it feels like loss upon 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 loss until you suddenly just crosses a magic line and all of a sudden you start making money. And there's no way around it. This is a grind. So you have to learn to love the grind. You have to learn to take the losses and see how they bring you forward, how all these endless hours, minutes, months, years are pointing you in some direction. You have to take the small victories, and the small victories, you have to take the victory of an investor saying, yes, that has to be a victory, and you have to count it as a victory. I've been having a lot of questions lately. Not only lately, but lately I've started to write them down, to have them available, and see if this is something that's relatable for people around the world. If you hear something in the background, it's just my dog. He just went up in the sofa. Now he's allowed, so that's okay. I'm gonna try to answer these questions from my point of view, obviously, but my point of view is mainly derived from philosophy and different business gurus and obviously some academics as well. So I'm Arvid, and I will be your host today. So let's just dive in. First, we have Tariq Al-Fayed. I hope I pronounced that right. He's about 34. He is 34 years old. He might be more now because it's been a while since I had the question. And he's in the United Arab Emirates, and he's a business development director. And his question was, how do I stop being the bottleneck in my team without losing control over quality? Although it's a question, is a really good question, because when you are a director or part of the management team, obviously you are now responsible for the results, the output. But you're also responsible for managing your team, and you're responsible for their development. And here's the thing. If you don't trust your team to deliver the quality you want your team to deliver, there is a disparity between the qualities you assume the team have and what they probably do have, or B, they are not good enough. And that leaves you in maybe a little problematic situation, but at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. So now you have a couple of choices, but the end game is quite obvious. The end game is that you're going to need to make sure that your team is capable of producing the necessary quality within the time frame for the project you do have. And the best way forward is to engage your HR department, because they are, at the end of the day, both responsible for recruiting, but also responsible for the training and development programs you do have in your organization. If you're not happy with the quality your team members produce, you have to engage HR and make sure that they up the level in their recruitment strategy, or B, that they make themselves available to or upskill the employees and the traits or the skills you feel are needed. Because you cannot, as the director of the team, be the bottleneck in a project. It has to be delivered on time. It is your neck at the end of the day. And but you are not the CEO. So to put it bluntly, you have to come to a position where you are capable of trusting your employees or your team members, and that can only happen by by A or B. You haven't recognized the skill set they do have and been able to apply that to the project you are doing. or B, they don't have the skill set needed, and you have to retrain them and make sure that HR helps you do that, or find new team members. I hope that wasn't too blunt or too mean. It wasn't meant to be, at least. So to summarize, really easy. If your team isn't as good as you need your team to be, your first option is to retrain and upskill the team members you do have. That will probably be the cheaper option. If that doesn't work, you're going to go out and hire the people and the skill set you need. If that doesn't work, you're going to have to buy the services from someone else. So thank you so much, Tariq. Hope to hear from you in the future, and that the advice is sound and good. So then we have Eva Nilsson. She's 28 years old and she's from Malmö in Sweden. The same goes here. I think she's 28. She used to be 28, at least when she sent the question. And she is a communication advisor. And her question is like, I'm good at my job, but invisible in the bigger picture. How do I build visibility without being annoying? Well, to be invisible is twofolded. It's a feeling of being invisible, which a lot of people have at some point. It depends largely to how used they are to be center of attention, and it's a real fact. This is about personal branding. Basically, you have to, if you just cut through all the fluff and just let's make it about personal branding, because personal branding is something we all do, and there's two ways to get that job done. It's being aware that it's happening all the time, or just walk through life and not let it affect you, or really, you're just letting it float. And for Eva, she wants to be better at it. You need to kind of decide what kind of person you want to be inside your organization. There are several ways to do that, but the first and foremost, the most important thing is that every organization have different types, archetypes, or whatever. You have to see, okay, who do I want to be? What do I want to be recognized for? And then specialize. And then try, when you kind of figure out that, and that can be your skill set within developing, computer developing, or your skill set in public relations, or your skill set, I don't know, about Kotler, the famous marketer. Try to, develop these skills and try to engage around the organization. Talk about it. Present yourself. Present your strengths, and offer to give talks without, and that's not intrusive. That's, I've learned something new that's important for all of us in the work we do. I want to, tell you about it, and try to take those kind of initiatives. And you are communication advisors. I'm going to assume that you have no problems talking, whether it's people or for larger masses. However, just specialize, because the more you specialize, the more you'll know about something, the more you'll master something, and the more you have to say about it. So if you want to be seen as an integral part of any organization, you need to be seen as a cog that the rest of the organization needs. And, specializing is probably the best way to go about it. And specializing also includes, the person, she's the one you'll come to when you want to have something done with regards to the subject you are specialized in. So to summarize, Eva, you want to be seen. If you want to be seen, you have to make yourself visible. Yeah, and to make yourself visible, you have to have something that that catches people's eye. And the easiest way to have something that catches people's eyes, if you have something in your hand they need right now. And that's a specialization. And you're working with communication, so there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different subjects you can go to. I would suggest you specialize in something you know is repetitive throughout the organization where you work. Okay. And next one, we have Mateo Gonzalez. He's 30 years old. Again, I hope that's his age still. He might be 31, maybe even 32. He's from Buenos Aires in Argentina, and he's a startup co-founder. Oh, I feel sorry. Yeah. And his question is, how do I stay optimistic when everything feels like a grind right now? That's a tough one, Matteo. Well, first and foremost, it is a grind. You have to recognize it and embrace it. I had some great advice when I started my first company, and it was basically that it's not going to get better. It's really you have to love the process. You have to love the process of not only do. Here's the thing: when you start something, you are looking forward to reap the benefits, the rewards of all the effort. But if you're really going to be a successful startup, a co-founder, you're gonna have to love the whole process, and with all the failures, with all the closed doors, with all the naysayers, everything that goes with it. Because success for a startup is like it feels like loss up and 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 loss until you suddenly just crosses a magic line, and all of a sudden you start making money. And there's no way around it. This is a grind, so you have to learn to love the grind. You have to learn to take the losses and see how they bring you forward. How all these endless hours, minutes, months, years are pointing you in some direction. You have to take the small victories. And the small victories, you have to take the victory of an investor saying yes to meet you. That has to be a victory, and you have to count it as a victory, because although he says yes or she says yes, there's a long way until they give you any money. And the same goes when you meet the first client. You have to love the fact of finding new leads in a phone book and picking up the phone and calling them. You have to learn to love every part of the process, because starting a business, that is a grind through and through. There's no twos about it. So I could probably complicate the answer a lot more, but at the end of the day, this isn't a complicated question. Optimism comes from seeing small victories, and to see the small, to make the small victories count, you have to make sure they are part of a planned process. That's the only way you're going to see and feel it like a victory. It is like climbing a ladder, you know? If you know there are 52 steps until you are at the roof, then you can literally know that just making the first step, that's a victory. Making 2 steps, that's a victory. Making 3 steps, that's a victory. Making 4 steps, that's a victory. And if you create small victories while you're moving ahead, you'll start to refine the optimism that it seems like you have lost for now. So we're going to do one more, since we do have time for it. It's not that late yet. Samantha Sam Lee from San Diego, the United States. She's a customer experience specialist. Is it too early to start a personal brand when I'm still figuring out who I am professionally? No. The short answer, Samantha, is no. The thing is that you have a professional brand. And I'm so just to clarify, personal and professional brand is the same when it comes to you. This is who you are, and what your peers or colleagues or clients, family, friends, whoever, this is who they see you as. And they already see you as something. So it's not like you are a blind spot for them today. The sooner you start developing, and this is what we can learn from philosophy. Philosophy is all about virtues. Yeah. It's about justice, all these things. You have some personal virtues, some higher standards, something that, you believe in. That's the basis of you. No matter what kind of professional or personal, no matter what brand you want to make, it will be based on the virtues you do have. So as soon as you kind of sit down and try to define them, the actions that you do professionally and personally will kind of map itself out as you move forward, because these virtues will be the groundstone in whatever you do. It's just whether it's conscious or unconscious. And for you, Samantha, these virtues is at the end of the day that makes you do different choices or make different choices, and what kind of actions that's followed by the choices you make. So virtues are immensely strong, and they are already there. And the sooner you start developing yourself around these virtues, the sooner you will find the path you are searching for. It's like I'm coaching a lot of people, and I always say to them, and this goes for anyone that listens. I can coach anyone to become the best in almost anything. And I'm not talking about, making a guy that's 1-5 the best basketball player in the world. I can make him as good as he can possibly be. However, what makes this difficult is, number one, what you believe in, and number two, what you're willing to do. And these two things are dictated by our virtues. Now, for someone that's willing to steal and hustle and do whatever it takes to become top of the world, they will probably get a long way. But if you're not willing to swindle or fool your friends, steal, take every shortcut, if that's not something you're willing to do, there are things in life you'll not be able to achieve. So I'm not promoting stealing. I'm just trying to clarify that the virtues you do have, they are quite significant, and they will dictate a lot of the choices you make. So, Samantha, whether you're clear or unclear on your path going forward in this world, use a little time to see what's important for you. Is it justice for all? Is it to live a fulfilling life? All these things. These are your virtues. When you have them, incorporate them into your personal brand, and use that in the way you communicate, your social media presence. If you are for a just world, maybe fast fashion isn't something you should represent. You see where I'm coming from, and these virtues will also help you guide you toward the path you're looking for. But for now, just let these virtues help you and start developing your personal brand. And it's never too early to start developing a personal brand, because everyone you meet will already today make up their mind and have a perception of who you are. So to summarize, make your personal brand as soon as possible. Base it on the virtues you do have, because these virtues will eventually guide you down the path that you're supposed to go either way. So I think that's enough for today. There are a lot more questions out there. And please, anyone, if there's something I can help you with, or you need some advice, you can come to one of my seminars, obviously, or we do have some live seminars. I think one's coming up in February. That's open for everyone. But just keep on. So I'm gonna check out now and say thank you so much for listening or for viewing, and have a great day. And hopefully I will hear or see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.